Welcome to Pennsylvania in Focus. I'm Anthony Hennon. Today we're talking about squatters' rights and efforts to prevent property violations. Joining me today is the Center Square's Pennsylvania editor, Kristen Smith. Kristen, we have a anti-squatting bill moving through the General Assembly. What's going on?
Sure. So actually earlier this week, there was an agreement and it looks like the bill is heading to the governor's desk. What it is a bill that deals with squatters' rights, which I know it seems hard to imagine that people illegally occupying a home have rights, but it's kind of a term that points at the fact that state laws are kind of weak around giving property owners enough recourse to kick people out of their house that are there illegally. And so this bill, starts that process by basically making it, if a property owner says to the illegal squatters that they're not welcome there, then they can be charged with trespass. So it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it gives homeowners more recourse in the fact that law enforcement can get involved with this, with getting them out of the property.
Okay, so are there any, it seems like all the legislative hurdles are cleared. We're waiting to see Shapiro take action on this. Have we seen an increase in problems surrounding squatters in recent years in Pennsylvania?
Yes, it's certainly escalating. And it's not just Pennsylvania, to be fair. It's all over the country. There were some examples given on the House floor when it passed recently. There were people who were illegally squatting in homes and then, turning it into quote unquote drug dens. So there was a lot of illegal activity happening on top of the squatting, a lot of property destruction. There was a case where 4 homes were damaged by fire and 2 were completely destroyed as a result of illegal squatters who tried to cook on the floor of one of the buildings and just set this fire. And then there's been more terrifying incidences in New York City. For example, a woman was murdered by squatters after she came back from a vacation in Spain and found them living in her house. There was another woman who was arrested after changing the locks on her door to prevent squatters. So it's not only Pennsylvania that has these problems, but it's certainly something that's gotten worse and worse. And so this is kind of, like I said, this is the first step. There are lawmakers who felt like this didn't go far enough and that they wanted there to be recourse for homeowners to get illegal squatters out of their homes immediately. You would think that that's something that was already a possibility, but it's not. Law enforcement has, been reluctant to immediately evacuate illegal squatters because their argument is that it's hard to verify who's the owner and who's not, which again sounds crazy, but apparently this is their reasoning for why they don't act on other parts of the law that would obviously criminalize squatting. So this gives them more authority to do what needs to be done. But like I said, lawmakers are pleased. There's likely to be more legislation in the future that deals with this.
Kristen, thanks for joining us today. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.